Welcome to Chaos Cortec.
Hey guys, welcome back. So it's been a while since I have done a Tinkercad tutorial, and so I thought it's about time I do another one. And actually my previous Tinkercad tutorials have been getting a lot of love, and people seem to really be liking them. So obviously there's a lot of people out there using Tinkercad. So I thought today I would just show some quick techniques that I use to like bevel edges and also fillet them or round them, whatever terminology you want to use. And if you don't understand what I mean by those terms, just stick around and you'll see pretty quickly what I mean. So first of all, Tinkercad does not have built-in features for this, so you do have to do it manually, which isn't too bad. It can be tedious depending on how many edges you have to do this to, and getting it precise can be difficult as well. But I've actually seen one of the developers of Tinkercad comments on a forum somewhere stating that they use some sort of mesh system behind the scenes to control all of these objects going together, and they said that with that kind of system there's not really, like vertices and faces and edges and stuff like that, and so without an edge detection, it's not easy for them to do beveling as a feature. He said that you could possibly do it on like a per side basis, which I think would be cool, but I don't think they have any plans to add anything like that. But Tinkercad developers, if you're watching, that would be a very cool feature. Okay, enough talking. Let's get into it. So first, we're just going to bring out a box, place it anywhere. And by the way, if you are wondering what these things are back here, they are previous tutorials I've made. Back here we have some gears. I'll put a link up in the corner over here. Click the eye, or down in the description if you're on mobile. And then these ones are adding details to rounded objects. And I will also put that up there, so check that out if you want to see more of those. Okay, so for just a simple bevel or chamfer or anything like that, basically what we're going to do is hit Control D to duplicate this box, and then I am just going to move it all the way over so the edges are touching, and then I'm going to go back 5. And then I'm going to go up 15. So that just gives us a 5 by 5 little square here that's overlapping. I'm going to go ahead and make that a hole, and then I'm just going to rotate this 45 degrees. And now, as you can see, that gives us a really, really nice chop off of that corner there. And I'm just going to extend this out a little bit for good measure. And that works pretty good, and obviously you can change the position, orientation, size of the box, anything like that, to get different sort of effects on this bevel. But I'm just going to show you the basic ones. So I'm going to duplicate that again, and then I'm going to move it over until it looks like it is about the same. So that right there looks good. So then I'm going to click both of them, duplicate, and then I'm just going to move both of them down until it looks like we have got them in about the right position. And that actually looks pretty good. So I am just going to select all those, and I'll group it so we can easily undo and change it later, and then group the whole thing. And now, as you can see, there are less extreme corners on there. And I think that's really the point of beveling. So you should start to see how this can affect, or how you can apply this to some of your models. And now, say that we wanted to get more complicated in beveling something that is on an angle. Like, what if we wanted to bevel this corner right here? Well, there are two ways we can do that. If we only wanted to bevel this corner right here, this is the technique I would use, and it uses a feature of Tinkercad that I don't see people use very often. But it's very powerful. It's creating a new work plane. And so if you just hit W, or I think it's actually over here, you can click work plane there. But I just hit W, and then hover over the face you want to create the work plane on. So I'll just create it there. And now, as you can see, it's basically recreated the ground on this edge. So now I can just drag a box over like this and we're good to go. So I'll do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just line it up a little bit better. And then I will move it into the ground 5. And then we can just take it and rotate 45 degrees. And then I'll just throw the work plane back on the ground, and as you can see, it's just going to chop off that corner right there. So, boom, we have that beveled. And that works pretty good. Let's look at another technique. So if we wanted to just bevel all of these edges again, sort of an easier way to do that is if we take this, just take another cube, and then we'll do the same thing. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in, and then raise it 15, rotate 45 degrees, make it a hole, and so there we have that. Now let's duplicate that, move it down to about the same, and this one you can actually use these corners right here as a guide to get this in the same spot. See, it's just barely touching those corners. So now we know that that's a pretty even bevel on all sides. So then I'll take these, rotate, and there we have all the 4 edges again, but that's not exactly what we want because that's going to produce a weird effect, and actually I can show you that. So, and maybe that's what you want, but there's kind of these pointed areas on the edge, and that's not what I'm going for here. So what I'm going to do is just take all 4 of these, I'm going to duplicate again, and then rotate 45 degrees. So that may look like a garbled mess, but if I combine all these, you can kind of see in there what it's going to do for the model. And actually there's a little bit of an overlap there, so I'm going to try to fix that. And I'll just take these selected ones and move over. Now it looks like there's still a little bit there, and moving one goes too far. So another cool feature of Tinkercad is changing the unit size. So I'm going to change it to 0.25 and then move over, and boom, that looks like it's lined up pretty good. So then I'm going to go back to 1, and let's just group all these and see what kind of result we have. So that actually looks pretty good. And sometimes just putting little edges like this on things can make it look more professional. And who knows, maybe you have some sort of mechanical need for edges like this. And then if you wanted this on either side, you could even just duplicate this and, you know, bring it over. And that actually works pretty well. Group them. Boom. Looks pretty nice. Okay, so now what if we wanted to round the edges of a cube? So let's bring a cube back in a box. And now what we're going to actually do is we're going to take this round roof thing here. You could also take a cylinder. Doesn't matter, but this one just removes a step. So let's get this, line it up halfway through. So we're just going to chop off exactly half of this right here. So if you measure that, it should be 10. And then we're going to take another box and just go right up to the edge of that. And then we'll actually make it just a little bit smaller and then turn this into a hole. And actually I'm going to go 0.1 and pull this out a bit just to avoid any weirdness when I group these. And then I'll go back to 1. And then I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so it's more convenient. And then I'm going to group these. So right there we have a curved edge that we can do things with. So let's do things with it. So if we take this, extend it out beyond, and then I'm just going to bring it up, bring it over, and then let's just try to line it up the way that we want it to be. Okay, so that's pretty good, but what if I didn't want that much? I can go up 1, over 1, and there's just rounding off a little bit of the corner. So now I'm going to duplicate this and rotate it, come over here, and let's do the same thing. 1 right there. Do the same thing here. Let's go ahead and group all this. And now you can see that we have some pretty nice rounded corners of this box. And obviously you can use those corners and kind of deform them how you want to get different effects for this. And then for the fun of it, let's just see what happens if we take these and do another thing like this. It should be kind of a cool shape, I think. Let's make sure that it's all squared up. And I'll select all of it, group. See, that's kind of a cool shape. It's not a cylinder, not a sphere, not a box. It's somewhere in between all three of those. So those are just kind of some fun shapes you can make in Tinkercad. And I mean, it's really not that difficult. You just have to kind of look at whatever you're trying to create and then try to devise what techniques you should use to get it to look like that. So guys, I hope you found this interesting, useful, anything like that. And then I think I'm going to end the video there. So if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you're not sure what to watch next, check the little eye up in the corner. I'll point you to some other really cool videos. And then if you have not subscribed, I would love for you to do so. I put out new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So subscribe to make sure that you don't miss any of those. Alright guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.